Okay, so we are going to start on fractions today. We're only going to be doing two quick concepts. But before we do that, I want to go over what fractions are and what they look like. So take out your notebook and go into your table of contents. I'm sorry for this scratching here, but just ignore that. And for our fifth concept, we're going to write fractions, improper, and mixed numbers, and then put your page number. Once you do that, turn to your next page. And I already wrote some of it out ahead of time, so bear with me here. So, first title your concept. The concept that we are working on are fractions. And so a lot of you guys were like, oh, okay, well, I know what fractions are, but just so we can remember back in our memory bank, go ahead and pause the video and take down the definition of what a fraction is. So a fraction is a symbol used to name part of a set, a location on a number line, or division of whole numbers. So sometimes we can see fractions in the form of 1/4, right? Or we can see them such as, let's say, 4/2. This also is kind of a division problem because 4 divided by 2 will just give me 2, right? And then we can also form them in a number line. Just as we know that we can turn a fraction into a decimal, they can also be formed in number line. So here I would have 1/4 as 0.25, right? So if I have a number line, I'll start here with 0, and 1 is going to be right here, so 1.25 would be right here. Okay. So, quick explanation of what a fraction is. And I also wrote a visual here. So, if I have 3 parts, and I only want 2 parts, so I shaded in the 2 parts here, that means that I have 2 parts of the 3 of the whole. So my top number, go ahead and write your numerator, which is number of parts of the whole, and your bottom number is called your denominator, which is the total number of equal parts. So in this case, our total number of equal parts is 3, but we're only taking 2, so that means that we have 2/3. Okay. Next, we're going to go over what improper fractions are. What an improper fraction is where you have a numerator that's greater than your denominator. Remember back previously we said the numerator is the top number and our denominator is bottom number. So that means that my numerator has to be bigger than my denominator. That's what an improper fraction is. This top number is bigger than this bottom number. That's all it needs to be. Next, we're going to go over what mixed numbers are. What a mixed number is a fraction that has a whole and a fraction. So it's a mixed number has a whole number, in this case we have a 2, and then we have a part, which is a fraction. So in this case I have, let's say, like 3 pies, and each of these pies have 3 slices. Okay, so I know I have 2 pies, and then I have one more slice here, which is 1/3. So I have 2 and 1/3. Now we're going to be converting mixed numbers and improper fractions. So the first one we're going to do is improper fractions. So previously we learned how to divide decimals, basically using long division. So what we're going to do, and go ahead and pause if you want to write down all the steps first. We're going to use long division to convert an improper fraction into a mixed number. So once again, what an improper fraction is, like in this case, we have 12/8. So this is a numerator is greater than my denominator, but I want to turn it into a mixed number. I want to have a whole number and a fraction. And so what I need to do, I actually need to use long division in this case. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 8 as my divisor, and then 12 as my dividend. And I'm just going to use long division. And so I'm just going to say, okay, well, how many times does 8 go into 12? I know that 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 times 2 gives me 16, so I can't fit a 2, but I can fit a 1. So that means I'm going to have 8. 12 minus 8, well, that's just going to give me 4. And I need to figure out, okay, well, does 8 go into 4? It doesn't. So what I have left here is a 1 and 4/8. And so all I'm doing is I'm taking my remainder and I'm dividing it by my divisor here. So step 2, it says write the remainder as a fraction. So like I did here, that's my remainder. Step 3, you're going to write your answers as a mixed number and simplify if necessary. This is a really, really, really crucial statement right here. Simplify if necessary. So let's take a look at my answer here. So my answer is 1 and 4 over 8. So if I need to simplify, that means can this fraction right here be fully further simplified? So what numbers can they both go into? Well, taking a look at 4 and 8, I know that they have a 4 in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my numerator and my denominator by 4. And so when I do that, I know I can reduce it to 1/2. So basically that means that my official answer is 1 1/2. So that means that 12 over 8 is also equal to 1 1/2. Let's go ahead and check out some practice problems right here. So the first problem is telling us 55 divided by 18. Right, so let's go ahead and set this up like we did previously. So what we're going to do is 18 and 55. So we're going to figure out, well, how many times does 18 go into 55? Well, I know that 18 times 3 is 54. So I'm going to say 3. That's going to give me 54. 55 minus 54 will just leave me with 1. And at this point, 18 can't go into 1, so that's just going to be my remainder. So my remainder is 1 over 18. Remember, take your remainder and divide it by your divisor here. So your official answer is going to be 3 1/8. There's no need to simplify here because it's already fully simplified. And this is practice for when you guys give me your answers in your exams. They always need to be fully simplified. Question number 2, and I'll use orange now. We'll have 12 as our divisor and 38 is our dividend. How many times does 12 go into 38? Well, I know 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, and 12 times 3 is 36. So I can put a 3 here. 36. 38 minus 36, that's just going to leave me with 2. And there's nothing else that I can do, so my remainder is going to be 2 over 12. And so in this case, I'm going to have 3 and 2 over 12. And I'm taking a look at 2 over 12, and I'm like, okay, well, I can still reduce this because they both have a 2 in common. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide both the top and bottom by 2. So I'm going to have 3 and 1/6. 3 1/6. Last, I use pink for this one. I have 20 and 15, so that means I'm going to have 15 divided by 20. And I need to figure out, okay, well, how many times does 15 go into 20? Well, 15 times 1 gives me 15, and 15 times 2 gives me 30, so I know it's only going to go in once. So 1 times 15 gives me 15. 20 minus 15 will give me 5, and I'm left with 5 as my remainder over 15. So I have 1 and 5 over 15. And I'm taking a look at my fraction here. I'm like, well, I know 5 can go both into 5 and 15. So let's go ahead and reduce our fraction here by 5. So our official answer is 1 and 1/3. Next, we're going to take mixed numbers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go from mixed numbers to improper fractions. And so what we're going to use is we're going to actually use multiplication to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction. So there's 3 steps to this, and I have an example right here. So step 1, you're going to multiply the whole number by the denominator. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 4 times 3. And I'll put arrows so you won't confuse this. There you go. 4 times 3, that will give me 12. And then, so I'll just write 12 right here. Step 2, and And I'm sorry, that's my dog. Step number 2, you are going to add your answer to the numerator. So this answer that we retrieved right here, we are going to add that to our numerator. So now we're going to take 12 plus 3, and that's going to be a total of 15. And in step 3, you are going to put the new numerator over the old denominator. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to keep your old denominator. And that's it. We just converted a mixed number into an improper fraction. So this is my official answer. Let's go ahead and try some practice problems. So let's try our steps. The first step is that we're going to multiply our denominator with our whole number. So then 15 times 2, that's going to give me 30. So I'm going to box this answer, and then I am going to add that answer. So I'm going to multiply and then add. I'm going to add 30 plus 11, and that's going to give me a total of 41. And then you're going to keep your denominator, and that's 15. And that's it. That's all you're doing. Next, we have 7 times 11. So once again, we're going to multiply our denominator with our whole number. That gives me 77. So I'm going to box that number. And then we're going to add 4 to 77. And that's just going to give me a total of 81. And then we're going to keep our old denominator. And that's it. 81 over 7. Next, same idea. And I'll use orange this time. We are going to multiply our denominator times our whole number. That's going to give me 80. And then we're going to add it to our numerator. It's going to give me a total of 88 divided by 10. And we'll just keep it like this as an improper fraction. We don't have to reduce it or anything. Don't worry about that, but that is how you do that.